day, everyone, and welcome to Obidient Family TV. The program is Hope Alive. Yes, there is hope, and the new Nigeria is certainly possible. And a good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending your time zone. Today, we've come to have a discussion on what is happening in Nigeria. As you know, we only purposely do a critical analysis of what is happening in Nigeria and try to see and reason with this very hopelessness that is happening in Nigeria. And but today we have a very worrisome report that just reached us that a leaked memo from the presidency signed by Bola Tinubu himself has just surfaced, and it is troubling to note that this very presidential restricted memo that surfaced is showing that Chief Bola Tinubu did approve 1 billion naira, 1 billion for this very committee that failed or we are unable to bring about the minimum wage in Nigeria. Because as you note, Chief Bola Tinubu says he's going to opt out of the 60,000 naira that was offered, that he's going to bring it up. Meaning that this same tripartite committee failed on their obligation but consumed 1 billion naira of taxpayers' money. And that is what we are here to discuss. I have with me in the studio Divine Dawns, and I have Peace.
Thank you for joining us on this live broadcast. Let's have these conversations.
Now welcome, Obidient Worldwide.
Oh yes, so obedience everywhere on a day. This discussion is going to be very, very brief. We have also our people on Zoom. We have Elder Statesman Obade from the UK, Lord Kingsley in UK. We have Tony in Enugu. We have Kini Willie all the way in Cross River Calabar joining us on Zoom. And we have many obedience also on Zoom who wish to lend their voices to this very thing happening in Nigeria. 1 billion naira to get a minimum wage of 60,000 naira for an average Nigerian worker. And I guess, like we mentioned last time, that this so-called NLC and the labor unions attached, they all shared from that loot. And we wish to know how much did they get out of this 1 billion naira that made them to suspend this very strike, or relax, as they call it. Let's start from this studio with Divine Dawns. So Divine, we have seen it. We mentioned that, was it day before yesterday, day before again, we say, and I keep saying, even when you say, oh, cut them a slack, you know, give them some time, I think probably there's a reason why, best known to them, why they had to give 7 days of 1 week of relaxed tension from the whole brouhaha that they brought in, and you say give them a slack. Now we found out 1 billion naira is shared by this committee. How many members are involved, so that we can even start calculating how many millions that they made out of Nigerians' money to arrive at 60,000 naira? Or you don't think that the labor unions are involved? They call it a tripartite committee.
Well, particularly, I want to first say that this particular memo, we've seen it earlier, or rather, this is not a very recent memo. The point is that this particular memo was circulating as when the conversations on this minimum wage was actually beginning. This was earlier during the year, right? And so the question about how they spent this money is left for them to answer, to be very honest. We understand that they took, or they got, you know, approved of 500 million naira inside that 1 billion naira that they requested for. But we can see from the looks of things that the people who were members of that committee actually failed to do their job, because even after the 500 million naira has been used and the 1 billion naira, you know, exhausted, we can't still particularly get anything from there, or get anything from them to particularly say this is what they've come up with for Nigerian workers. Well, my point is just, when I said cut slack, I have to just reinstate the fact that I wasn't supporting the Labour Party, or rather the Nigerian Labour Congress. I was just saying they stated 5 days and they said they're relaxing on it. Even though we know their antecedents, I'm just saying for the last time, let's just see what they do with these 5 days and then we can have the conversation. That's really my point.
Okay, I get your point, but again, we need to make this clear that as at January, February, that approval, Chief Bola Tinubu inside this leaked memo was very clear that they should start with 500 million. You understand? Right. That supposedly is an approval for the 1 billion, because that particular memo was specific that the original expectation from Chief Bola Tinubu to approve was 1.8 billion, right. But of course, it was cut down for approval for 1 billion, and he says start off with 500 million. So obviously the other one would have by now, because they say by the memo it is expected by April the 1st that they would have finished having a conversation on that, and then it means that the other payments would have been done. And again, don't forget the fact that these are people to sit down and deliberate how much the poorest of the Nigerian workers will earn. At the end of the day, they did not succeed. Now, is it a waste of money? Because they started with other 40-something thousand naira, migrated to 50-something, and ended up at 60. And still, it was not enough. So, I believe this is something that even the executive could sit down and really get right without having to spend about 1 billion naira.
Well, you're very, very correct. But I think my theory is this here. When you brought up the fact that they've collected, or as at the time of this leaked memo, they already approved 500 million. Is there a possibility that maybe the reason why we're currently striking, or the Labour Congress, the reason why the leadership of the Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress actually are coming out to say they are going on strike, is what if it's because they didn't get the remaining parts or the remaining money of the 1 billion naira that they were asking from Tinubu?
That might be a point.
Yeah, it's possible. Maybe they got 500 million and they were expecting the 500 million, the remaining part, so they can, settle within themselves, and they've not gotten it. And that's probably the hidden agenda behind the strike, not particularly that they care about,
the sitting allowances has not been paid, but it is something that is under the table. Right. Okay, I get your point. But let's again get to our people on Zoom. Let's start with Lord Kingsley. If you will unmute and put your own voice into this. How do you feel about this very committee? After squandering 1 billion naira of taxpayers' money, they were unable to come up with something reasonably that Nigerians will either appreciate or even be accommodated. Even the National Assembly are looking at it that this money is not okay. I mean, so many people who have spoken both on the mainstream media have said that 60,000 naira is really not worth it. So my point is, 1 billion naira, is that a reasonable amount to spend trying an amount that should be for the poorest of the poor in Nigeria? And then I wish to note, if you know that this, as a tripartite committee, that even the labor unions are involved, and how much they would have cashed out of this. Lord Kingsley.
Good evening, everyone in the studio.
Good evening, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I don't really have a lot to say about this today, because it is, they say, as you lay your bed, that's how you lie on it. Because if the labor union, if Nigerians, if the different communities, if they were serious about what they want to do, if they were serious about how they want this government to propel itself, I believe something should have been done when this memo leaked out. But like the attitude, we all try to be loyal, try to be compatible, try to be in line with the nonsense that's going on. How can you tell me that you spend 1 billion naira for a committee to sit down? Are they going to space? Are they going to space? For them to sit down, and then up to as we speak right now, no decision has been made. Even up till yesterday, they were now even instructed to go back. And I'm sure another 1 or 2 billion naira has been spent again since yesterday. For these rascals, for these idiots to go and sit down and think about how much people that are actually working the money that they are receiving will be making. I mean, it's just it's a sorry situation. It's a sorry situation. It's a sorry situation for our country, Nigeria, because this is not what we bargained for. This is not what we bargained for.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah. Let's also have the conversation side of it from Elder Obode, who has been on style. Can you please tell us how you feel about spending? It's not just about the 1 billion naira, which of course has been approved a long time ago, has been expended, but actually not coming out to do the job. Do you think that this committee did the job, Elder Obode?
Oh boy, it's scandalous, isn't it? It is scandalous. The UK, take for instance, such things like minimum wage and whatever. Why do you have to pay the civil servant who is looking into minimum wage? You have to pay them extra money. In the UK here, Jesus Christ. The civil servants, they look at these things, you know, in its totality and work out, you know, what the minimum wage should be. And nobody in this country pays them extra money. Okay, there might be, you know, money for, you know, because they have to be in a different environment while they're considering all these aspects. Those expenses, those little expenses. But for 1 billion naira, I can't comprehend this. I cannot comprehend it. So who are those people? What statistics are they using, you know, to actually look into the salaries of, you know, ordinary Nigerians? Whereas, you know, the senators, the House of Representatives, the president, all of them, they're taking millions and millions of naira home every month. Then you look at it, oh, the ordinary man in the street should be paid, or the public worker should be paid only 60,000 naira. What is 60,000 naira? 60,000 naira, that is $600. 600, in fact, less than $600. And you look at,
I think your calculations. Okay, Elder Statement, because I believe that 60,000 naira is about 30, judging with 1,500 naira calculation, we should be having about $40. $40. That's what it should be. Because $20 will amount to 30,000 naira, then another one. So, Elder Statement, thank you. I'll be coming back with another question for you, but let me get to Kini from Cross River State, who is on standby too to lend his voice. So, Kini my question is just like other people who actually lending their voice, straightforward. Do you think that it is the 1 billion naira is what the answer that we got from this the tripartite committee? Do you think that it is what their engagement, because they have started this work, I presume, since January, and they were supposed that they have been paid the 1 billion. Do you think that that job has been done for them to arrive at 60,000, which is unacceptable to all Nigerians and all that? Do you think it is what the money being spent?
Thank you, Mr. Kanu. Good day, viewers across the world. Without mincing words, I will just go straight on to tell you that it is absolute total failure on the part of the committee. Because if we are to appraise them, we are to appraise them based on the job description that was given to them, which was to come out with an acceptable minimum wage for Nigerian workers. And that was not done. That wasn't achieved. Hence, the strike that we witnessed 2 days ago. And so for me, that is total failure. In appraisal, we give them NI, which is the needs improvement. But you see, what is even shocking for me is the fact that they collected the sum of 1 billion naira, or they requested for the sum of 1 billion naira, and that was approved, because even though it is seen on that leaked memo that I also know that the Nigerian factor, the other one must have been released immediately. So I asked myself, what were they going to use 1 billion naira to do? Because every member of this committee are either members, staff of the federal government or organized private sector. They all earn salary. And this was a national assignment, which they should even take it as a responsibility to see how they can better the life of Nigeria. So why were they asking for 1 billion naira for? What were they going to do with 1 billion naira? It's so sad that we have degenerated to this level. This government have shown time and time again that they are anti-people. They don't have the welfare of the people at heart. Otherwise, how do you reconcile the fact that you are already earning salary and you were given additional assignment? You now ask for 1 billion naira to share amongst yourself, because that's what basically happened. And even at that, you didn't deliver on that job. So it's a sad situation. It's a sad situation. I really can't wrap my head around this. I just have to leave it at this level. Thank you.
Thank you please, can I apologize? Can I apologize? My arithmetic went south at that point in time. It is 60,000 naira equates to about 40 pounds. I beg your pardon.
$40.
$40, yes.
Yeah.
About $40.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I
beg your pardon.
There's no, it's okay, it's all right. So yeah. Let's also get reactions from Tony in Enugu. Tony, please lend your voice to this. Tell us if this tripartite committee should refund the 1 billion taxpayers' money that was consummated for the consultation that went bad. Can you please lend your voice? Do you think Nigerians should move for them to refund 1 billion naira?
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. It's really nothing really shocks me in this country. What do you expect? These are, like somebody suggested, probably civil servants and the private sector employees. This is supposed to be part of their work schedule. When you get paid to do work, you go ahead and do it because you are being paid for it. This is just a country of sharing. Everybody wants to share, particularly those in government. That's why you see people trying to kill themselves in order to get into government jobs or into political offices, because it's sharing. Extravaganza is what is going on in this country. And nobody can do anything. They don't listen. Even if you scream now from now till tomorrow, they probably have shared the money. And they're wasting all this time because they have to justify the 1 billion naira. They can't just share it sitting in one day to resolve the labor issue. So they're spreading it so that it will look like they're doing some work. It's absolutely unbelievable what is going on in this country. And if there is a way Nigerians could possibly make it, could possibly have these people return the money, it would be nice. But it's not possible. They probably are laughing to the banks with their shares of the loot, because this is public looting, nothing else. Public looting. It's Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, Tony.
Thank you, Nigeria.
All right, Tony. Let's also take the reaction of from the USA who has joined us. I believe that he will have one or two things to tell us about this very committee. My question really is around the 1 billion naira approval. Let's not even go. It may even be beyond the 1 billion. Maybe there's a supplemental that we are not aware of. But we are talking about the one that is already in the distance. So, Kali, the question is just as others, but a little bit different. Do you think that this very committee has failed on their mandate to get minimum wage that is acceptable to Nigerians? Do you believe? And if you do believe that they have failed, do you also suppose that they should refund the sitting allowance since they couldn't get the job done?
Thank you, Mr. Mazi. And I know for lack of time, I'll just go straight to the point. Right from the inception of the committee itself and the members that make up the committee, I knew that, this damn thing was doomed for failure. Now, you realize, this mentality in Nigeria, if I eat the money, then what? And that's the question they put in front of Nigerians. Yes, we got 1 billion naira, then what? We're not the first people, ever to be given assignments that we never did. What are you going to do? So that's what it boils down to. And I keep saying it, that, this conspiracy goes far deeper than we think. And it is a determination to maintain this perpetual underclass in Nigeria. And they're doing it everywhere, every time. So the cooperative that we have is the best insulation from this madness. Or else, all we're going to do is complain and complain, and they're going to tell you, what are you going to do about it? Straight in your face. So, hey, look, if you say they're going to refund the money, how are they going to refund it? You tell me. So, the whole administration is a joke. Like my friend said it. He said, once you have shit, you're going to have flies around it. And so the head of state is a piece of shit. And all you see are the flies hovering around it. So why should we be surprised as at the outcome of this nonsense? We should not be surprised. He told you that if elected, he's going to shrink the economy and expand the tax net. So why are we complaining? These things are no longer new. These are plans. So I guess we just have to keep trotting on our path of this cooperative. That's all I'm saying. And that will be our own savior, not from the government. Because the government is not the solution. As I said, the government is the problem. Thank you.
Thank you for that very contribution over there. Let's also, I have our phones are going blazing, ringing, but I couldn't take it because we're looking at the people who are showing up to have their contribution. We have so many people on Zoom, and if you wish to speak, can you please raise up your hand? I see a gentleman over there. If Lord K permits him to unmute and then make his own input, as I may not know his exact location and where he's joining us from. So Lord K, please, if you can allow the gentleman trying to unmute so that he can make his own voice on this conversation.
Okay, Mr. Due Process. Can you unmute your mic, sir? Due Process.
Okay.
Okay, if it's not a... Okay, good evening.
Thank you. Maybe his mic is having some issues. Let's also take, we have different, all of that. Please, if you wish to join the conversation, you should please, on the Zoom, please indicate by just raising up your hand so that you could join. I see a hand that is up over there. Okay, can you please check whose hands is up, and so that we can take their input on this conversation.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Obidient TV. Okay, everybody. Yeah, the conversation is an interesting thing, but okay, let me just...
if we are unable to get the mics working.
Can you hear me?
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, well, the conversation is quite an interesting one, but just like the second to the last speaker said, in Nigeria, you don't get perturbed when you hear figures, because recently I got another information from the budget office, which I'm going to highlight for you briefly to hear since we don't have time. 1 billion has been allocated for Tinubu sitting allowance, 98 billion for Tinubu's personal cost, 20 billion mansions for Shetima, the vice president, 10 billion for computers for Tinubu and Shetima. I mean 10 billion for computers for Tinubu and Shetima. 15.1 billion for library and books for senators. 6 billion for car parks for senators and House of Representatives. 4 trillion miscellaneous. 4 trillion, not billion, miscellaneous. That is anyhow spending in the budget of 27 trillion in Nigeria. And then lastly, 2.24 trillion National Assembly padded project, not specified from the budget. So what are you talking about? Just patri 1 billion for a committee, when one man is taking 1 billion for his allowance, just one man. And so you see, those people will be angry that with this kind of money allocated, I have just read it out for you. How are they even going to share 1 billion and will be enough for them? You see, so you see they have taken that as a very insulting thing to them. At least you should be talking about 10 billion. Otherwise, what kind of computers? Is it to buy an entire company, computer company, that these people want to spend 10 billion? What? These are people who don't even know how to operate computers. Oh God. And bye-bye.
There's no need to say bye-bye, sir.
I was looking at the money being spent for the library, for the senators and the House of Representatives. These are people who are deadheads. What do they need library for? They don't need library.
It's a book museum. A book museum, not library. It's a book museum. That's what they were looking for.
Okay, gentlemen, let's take the input of Christian Akko. I believe due process is with. Let's hear his own, basically joining on why 1 billion naira was expended and the job was not done. So, Christian Akko, please, what is your take on this?
Good evening, everyone in the studio. I'm speaking live from Mina, Niger State. You don't expect miracle from that committee on minimum wage. In the first instance, how do you represent the people that you don't know their needs? There is a great detachment between the president and the people. He's been surrounded by these hooligans they call presidency. So you don't expect anything from that kind of situation where the president is over surrounded by people. In the first instance, nobody really expects any good governance from Tinubu, because he's never been in that class of caring for the people. He is always aligning himself with political big weights that can help him make it biddings at the grassroots. So these are the same people who have been given the mandate to sit down and deliberate upon what is good for the Nigerian workers. It's an eyesore having governor to sit down as chairman of committee that will decide the fate of the take-home pay of the average Nigerian workers. He has never been a civil servant. He does not know the plight of the civil servants. How do you decide the take-home pay of a set of people whom you've never been in their shoes? You don't know how they fend. You don't know how they cope to attend to even come to workplaces. The transportation hurdles they face, the stomach situation that is across the nation. So it's like appointing a healthy man to be the chairman of the handicap. How can he represent them? Because he does not feel their pain. So that's the situation. To him, Tinubu is just a way of paying back. He has always been in that tradition of trying to pay back to politicians who have always helped him along the way to the Aso Rock. He is not interested in the otherwise. 1 billion for what? You know, how can you justify that just to sit down and decide the wage, the minimum wage, and you're, setting aside 1 billion? That 1 billion alone is enough to change the face of a state if well utilized. So they are just so familiar with extravagant spending. To them, this 1 billion is like 100 naira. You know, they will even be surprised that we are deliberating such issue, because they are always used to spending without anybody questioning them. So they are not familiar with the style of opposition that's presented to them by the Obidient movement. They are not familiar. And this is a signal ahead of our subsequent election in Nigeria that these same people that are gaining from this structurality, they'll be there to weaponize the masses against ourselves at the grassroots. And that's where you see somebody who is also a victim of the present administration will be justifying the administration for doing nothing. So that's my little take. Thank you for wonderful deliberation. I sincerely want to encourage the NLC to stand by the masses and ensure that the right thing is done. Because, okay, I've been for that 5 years. He has no car of his own. He has no home of his own. He's now waiting for pension to be able to build a house. And the journey ends there. So the Nigerian situation is a sorry state. I sincerely hope that a new Nigeria will emerge and flush away these rascals that are occupying the echelon of power in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
We don't have.
And then we also have Hisdom. We have so many people on, and I may not be able to take all, but I can Hisdom, who is also standing by to choke his mouth. And Hisdom, if you can unmute and just have 1 minute to make your contribution, so that we can come back to studio and take so much calls coming in from reports, Obidient Family Cooperative Societies, whom of course I believe that Mary Okon is also on Zoom waiting to also give feedback, as we know that last time she said she was going to some of the wards where she will be meeting with Obidient, engaging them on the cooperative that is being set up at Yala local government of Cross River State. So let me even quickly get to, if Hisdom is not ready to talk to us, let's get Mary Okon on. Mary Okon, can you unmute?
Good evening, Obidient. Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, this is Hisdom.
Okay, Hisdom, please.
Yes, it's Hisdom.
Give us your take on this 1 billion. And also, I believe you are reporting from Enugu and you're a member of the Obidient Family Cooperative Society. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please give us your take quickly.
The issue with Nigerian system is that corruption has become part and parcel of all the structures in Nigeria. And the ruling class or the elites are not helping matters. We find out that in this country that when a person occupies a position, they see it as an entitlement, that it is their right to steal and plunder. Look at what is happening in Enugu State. The governor that is elected under the platform of PDP is on demolition spree. And we often ask ourselves, the demolition, is it at whose expense and who benefits? We begin to find out that most often they do this thing with impure motive just to benefit themselves. Because at the end of the day, after the demolition, we will equally find out that he will appropriate the land for himself through process. That is, by using pseudo companies or private sector as the people that will manage the so-called motor park. And when we look at even the demolition proper, we find out that what is being demolished may not even be recouped after so many years of establishing the motor park. That is, the quantity of property being demolished cannot easily be recovered as they are running the motor park, which means they are not even looking at a developmental strategy, rather they are looking at land grabbing. The same thing is happening nationwide. People see themselves in position of authority as an avenue for them to make money for themselves. But again, apart from the elite themselves, the people have to be blamed. We need to rise up this time around. Election very soon will be around the corner to do the needful by eliminating all politicians with skeleton in their cupboards. Without the masses rising up to do that, we may be far away from it. Thank you. Hello.
All right, thank you very much. That is here from Enugu. Please, Mary O'Connor, I believe you are with us joining on Zoom. Who is speaking? Who is speaking?
Go ahead.
Okay. Mary O'Connor, please, can you give us report? Our time is really giving us signal. And of course, there are several things I explained before we started the live show to the guests. So let's hurry this up because our time is really, the time is not really with us right now. So Mary O'Connor, please tell us the engagement you had with the Obidient Cooperative. So it's in different wards in local government. How many are your numbers now? The last time you were here with us, you said you have about 2,000 and something Obedience already mobilized in just 3 wards of Yala local governments, and you were making a move for some of the Obedience, some of the wards that Obedience were inviting you to. This, of course, you told us you will be crossing the river. And of course, you sent some of the pictures as we requested and some of the videos, which we may be displaying to see that you are actually putting Obedience together and to appreciate your work. Bringing Obedience together at Yala local government of Cross River State. Merokon, welcome to Obidient Family TV.
Thank you, boss. Good evening, house.
Good evening,
madam.
Thanks for this privilege one more time. It is well. Yesterday we went to Igede Ward by the grace of God as promised, and then it was tough along the way because when we get to the river bank, there was no one to cross us. But we thank God, we make a bold step, and then we're able to get some person after I might have crossed on my some persons to come at them because they were carrying bike. We went there successful by the grace of God and came safe. Praise
Yeah, madam, can you change your location? I think you're having network issues. Just move about to see if you get clearer network. Just move around to see if your network gets clearer.
I think I can actually see from watching from the video that is playing on now, that is Mrs. Mary Okon, who is obviously trying to cross the river, moving towards to go and meet Obedience at the other side of the river. That is what she is talking about here, though she's having network issues. But as you can see from the video right here, she is going on evangelism in the same local government, but had to cross a river, as we can see, just to make sure she connect with Obedience, who are across this very particular river. And you can see she was holding, I think there was no canoe around there, but you can see clearly from her back is written Obidient Family Cooperative Society, Yara local government. So Mary Okon is with us to share with us how she crossed this very river without a canoe, but had to be guided across this very river, but all in her quest to make sure that Obedience in the other side gets the news of the Obidient Family Cooperative. Bring Obedience together is her core mandate at Yala local government, being the president of the Obidient Family Cooperative Society. This is this is a service to humanity. And you can see she's all drenched, her clothes and all of that. So Mary Okon, congratulations, you have crossed that very river, and with this being drenched, you still went ahead to that very place to actually meet with the Obedience at the other side. Congratulations to our people over there who received her and all of that. So let's see if her mic has been restored or her network
yes, the network is a bit clearer now. Let me just sum it up because of the network distraction. We went to Igede Ward yesterday, and the Lord gave us victory over the people we met there. Although there was day before yesterday, they lost a young lady that made them bereaved. If not, I think the number we might have gotten would have been more than what we had yesterday. But still, we thank God. In Igede Ward, we had 338 members present and well registered in Igede Ward yesterday. 338 we had registered yesterday with us under Obedience. And then they promised, because of the barrier, they me to come back again. So the ESCO, I asked them to do the rest of the work, to do the needful yesterday, because I let ESCO over them and then I assigned them to do some work and then get back to me. But for now, the total number we are having, last we had 2,586 and plus 336. You see, we are clocking almost 3,000 in number. So thank you. I'm very stressed.
Fantastic.
Thank you,
Senator
sir.
Mary Okon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome, boss.
Yeah, so Mary Okon, I think I heard some of the things, and there are some of the people that spoke from that cooperative. Let's even take a listen to some of the people that you visited and what they had to say and all of that. Let's take a listen.
As you can see, the registration is ongoing now. My people are registering from Igede Ward to the Obidient family. And I pray that the Lord Almighty will continue to strengthen the Obidient family. And as we move on, more people will join us in Jesus' name. Please, I am using this opportunity to appeal to Obidient family that they should not behave like other cooperatives. So many cooperatives have been coming to take money from people and nothing has been done or to assist our people here. But this time around, we are believing God that Obidient family are going to assist people so that people will rely on them. So God bless you so much. I am still Apostle Igor John, the Igede War President, Obidient family.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are the members of Obidient family. We are very happy to see you in Igede land today. Please, we rely on you. We hope on you. We don't like the sheep. We are the extra bank. Do not fail us. We have hope on you. Thank you.
A report coming from Mary Okon, who is the president of the Obidient Family Cooperative Society in Yala local government of Cross River State, giving a report of how she is making sure that the Obedients are connected with each other and bringing them together to enter into this cooperative of mutual business benefit and all of that. So thank you very much, Mary Okon. We believe that as you continue to go through this very terrain, that God will continue to protect you as Obedience Worldwide. Will continue to pray for you and others. We also have a report that is coming from Niger State, wherein some local governments went into ward meetings, and of course we also received some videos and pictures of what is happening in Niger State. Of course, these are the Obidient Family Cooperative Society in Boso local government of Niger State, and I believe that Akko Christian may have one or two reports to give from this local government, and we see that Obedience everywhere across the country are organizing and coming together to be united so that they can be able to survive this very hopelessness that is happening in the country. Christian Akko, can you tell us what we are seeing in these pictures coming out from Boso local government of Niger State?
Yes, good evening once more. Over the weekend, we had a very fruitful engagement at the ward. I decided to move across the wards, be able to engage and organize the Obidient family meetings. The one that took place at Metumbi ward was actually the inaugural meeting of the family, and the people are excited. It's like hope alive. Their hope was rejuvenated, having to be part of the initiative. And we gave each other the assignment that in the next meeting, each one that was there present should come with at least 2 obedience. And the definition of who is an obedient, of course, is clear to them, and it was re-emphasized. And they promised to do just that. We're supposed to meet in next 2 weeks, but because of the Salah festivity that is almost at the corner, we postpone it till on 23rd for that of Metumbi ward. And I've been invited to come to Mekunkele ward and several other wards that are expecting me to come and introduce the Obidient Family Cooperative to them. And that is just development from Niger State. Shiroro, the other day, they held their own meetings, and they were over 31 in number. The last time that was held were over 15 for the inaugural meeting in Metumbi. And we're expecting more turnouts for the next series of meetings. So the people are very, very eager and looking forward to be part of the great initiative. The majority of our new members are into subsistence farming, and some are into menial jobs like local markets, transactions. They run businesses like small scale entrepreneurs. So they are really excited when I told them cooperative is about the welfare of the people, and they are willing and very passionate to be involved. I promised them that before the next meeting, I'll be coming with, I'm making plans on membership cards, ID card for members, and membership card for their dues registration when they start making payments. And that will come the bank registration have been successful. So I told them I need the engagement to proceed to bank, because only me cannot proceed to bank to open accounts for all of them. So we need their engagement, and they understand the vision properly. So that's the report.
Thank you very much, Christian. Our time don't just signal if we come out for studio. But we come out. Mary Okon, I don't know if the Cooperative Ayala local government has opened the bank account. Just that reminds me, as Christian Ako of Niger State Cooperative is talking about bank account. Has the cooperative at that side opened an account?
Yes, sir. We have opened an account. You know, I told us last meeting that the bank manager asked us to come back yesterday. And yesterday I was engaged with the assignment. Today I called him for the collection of the number. So he told me, it was this morning, he was telling me that there is a code that we need to generate under the distinct, but we have processed it already. I sent my secretary there because I need to take some rest. So my secretary have gone there for the code, and he has gotten it tomorrow by the grace of God. Before the next meeting, we are going to come out with the account number by his grace.
Okay, so Maricon, I always have advised that there are some people who may be interested in assisting in your evangelism as you go about bringing Obidient, which may want to support the cooperative at least, for you to have pamphlets at least when you go about talking to Obidient and all that. People will be interested in assisting you, even if it is for transportation sake and all of that. But again, you need to come up with that very account information so that if you send it across, we can display it and get some Obidient who will do the needful by assisting you in going to some of these places that you go evangelizing the good news that Obidient should be together and all that. So thank you very much. I believe that probably by tomorrow, as you said, or before the week runs out, that you sort this out so that we can take it off from there. Thank you very much for being with us. And I want to also use the opportunity to thank every one of you who had contributed in the discussion on Zoom. And of course, the people with me in the studio. I get person with the studio for here will be saying the more they do mui since I know even look that side, I face people waiting for Zoom. Peace. So and today when they shine like this, that I don't even remember say make you chook your mouth for waiting they happen for Nigeria. But time don't give us one kind serious say make we waka come out for studio. But if they tell you say that these people will collect 1 billion naira, whether they get the job, whether they do the job, where they pay them that money, abi they just do Bola Tinubu waiting in they do somebody, they just collect money waka, they no do job because the thing don't come back to in table back again now because every that agreement where they talk say they won't sign, they mention in name for them, then talk say na go decide now. So those people when give 1 billion naira don't get the job. I think say they do the job.
They know do what I see from all of this, their drama and political game card. They just won't play along with the government so they will get their own national cake. and they don't get anything.
They just share the money.
They just share, and they don't get Nigeria interest for heart. So all of these things are their normal drama and everything.
All right, okay. So anyway, we'll talk more on this as our time has also gone. Thank you also for sharing your views. The violence in the studio have been focusing more on the people joining us from Zoom. So thank you all, and forgive me for forgetting that we are back here in the studio. So until tomorrow, when we come back to talk more on what is happening in Nigeria. Bye for now.